Hello students, I am Dr. Shikha Mittal and today we will discuss the basic concepts in the subject QTB, that is Quantitative Techniques of Business. So the objectives of the today's discussion is to understand the different basic concepts or fundamentals of business statistics. That is why business statistics is necessary. And second one, to understand the importance of measure of descriptive statistics, which includes measure of central tendency and measures of dispersion. So let's start with the business statistics, right? The world of business is made up of those who engage in planning, setting goals and standards, developing strategies and implementing various policies. All of these functions and activities call for making decisions of various kinds, but the decisions are not made in vacuum. Instead, they are based on the information and the data collected. For management to make best decisions for their business, they must be able to take advantages of the information available to find the trend, the pattern, and the results that provide them with a competitive edge. So we must understand not only how to utilize the various techniques of data collection, but also how to interpret the result for better decision making. So what is statistics? Statistics is just a piece of numerical information, or we can say it is a numerical measure that describes the characteristic of a sample. For example, the GDP for the year 2020 is a statistic, as is the employment rate in each state across the country, or we can say the number of active COVID cases in any city. So basically we can say a statistic is the study of data, how to collect, analyze, summarize and present it. Next is data. Here we will talk about statistic may data is collected. So what is data? Data is a collection of facts such as numbers, words, measurements, observations, or just description of the things, right? Next is types of data. So basically data is divided into two types, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative, that is which we cannot measure in numerical terms, right? For example, honesty, beauty, intelligence, which we based on the attributes or features. The second one is quantitative, which we collect in the form of numbers. Quantitative data is again divided into two types, discrete and continuous. Discrete, which we measure in a round number or in the form of an integer, right? For example, if I say the number of books in the library, this is a discrete data. The number of subjects, right? The number of members in a family. So it will be a round number. Another one is continuous data. Continuous data is always in the range which we measure, not count. For example, if we talk about the services like in a hotel or in the bank, so there is a waiting time, right, to provide the service. So it can be in the range, that is 1 to 2, 2 to 4, or We can say, or we can take the more examples like height, weight, length, time. These all are the various examples of continuous data. So the basic meaning of statistics is science related to numbers. So as a subject, statistics is that branch of knowledge which is related to numerical facts. It is basically divided into two forms, plural and singular. In plural, it refers to statistical data, whereas in singular, it means statistical methods. Now, what are the two types of statistical methods? One is descriptive and second is inferential statistics. So the tools and techniques that comprise business statistics are: one is descriptive statistic, as it is specifically designed to describe the data. Another one is inferential statistics. It helps decision makers to draw inferences from a set of data. It basically helps the estimation or hypothesis testing. Now, these are the two tools, measure of central tendency and measure of dispersion. So, we will start with one by one. The first one is measure of central tendency. There are three methods to measure the measure of central tendency. But before that, what is measure of central tendency? Central tendency means location of the center of a set of data. It is also called the average. Generally, whenever we often talk about the average income of the families, the average marks of the students in a class, the average attendance, average cost of production, average amount withdraw from an ATM of a bank, and so on. So mean, median, and mode are numbers that represent a whole set of data or information. These are the various measures of average. Various measures of average can be classified into the following three categories: mathematical averages and positional averages. Mathematical is again of three types. One is arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean, and positional averages is of two types, median and mode. So first, what is arithmetic mean? This is very simple concept of arithmetic mean. This is the average obtained by dividing the sum of the observation by their number. It is represented by x bar, or sometimes we called it as summation sign or sigma. So x bar is defined as summation x divided by the n, where summation x is the sum of observation and capital N is total number of observations. Second is median. Median, if we have so many objects and we have to find the exact middle value of the series, then it is known as the median. So median is the middle score for a set of data that has been arranged in order of magnitude. The next type of measure of central tendency is mode. It is denoted by capital Z. The basic meaning of mode is trend or fashion. So mode is the value which occurs the greatest number of time in the data. Generally, we can take the example in the shoe shop. Right? So the number of pair of shoes which is in trend is often we can see in the market. Right? The mode of a distribution is the value at the point around which the items tend to be most heavily concentrated, or it may be regarded as the most typical of a series of values. So, measure of central tendency gives us the central value of the data. Another technique of a statistic is measure of dispersion. We can understand it with the help of an example. This is the following data provide the runs scored by two batsmen in the last 10 matches. Batsman A score is given and batsman B score are given. When we find the mean by sum up the numbers divided by the total number of matches. The average of both the batsmen is same, that is 40, but they differ significantly. We can see it with the help of graph. Here batsman A scores are given in the first graph, number of matches and runs, and batsman B. Here we can observe that runs of batsman B are grouped around the mean, that is 40, whereas the runs of batsman A are scattered from 0 to 100, though they both have the same mean. So, measure of central tendency gives the central value, but it does not reflect whether they are scattered around the central value or not. So, for this, we take the help of dispersion. Dispersion is defined as scatteredness around central value or the spread of the individual items in a given series. According to 𝐒𝐿 dispersion is the measure of the variation of the items. These are the different objectives to measure the dispersion. First, to determine the reliability of an average, whether average is reliable or not. Second, to compare the variability of two or more series. We can compare the variability. Next, for facilitating the use of other statistical measures. With this help, we can use another techniques, for example, correlation, regression, standard deviation, etc. And it is also on the basis of SQC, that is statistical quality control. Types of dispersion. There are two types of dispersion: absolute measure of dispersion and relative measure of dispersion. The first is absolute. Absolute meaning which we can measure in unit, where there is a unit. Second is relative measure of dispersion. It is used for comparing and it is always calculated in the form of ratio or percentages. Right? So thank you with this, and in the next video we will continue with the different techniques of dispersion. Thank you once again.